Knees and toes.
The shoulders have to do with anything.
Because of what you did to my bold prediction. Yes, I'm taking this too far, but I don't care. We're
The
going.
noise is great for those who are audio only.
What's up, everyone, and welcome into the Buffalo Sports Collective. It is Monday, November 24th, 2025. As always, I am PK alongside my co-host Phil, episode 390. We are back to our in-season schedule as Dak Prescott throws an incomplete pass. Sorry, I am in a battle trying to make playoffs in fantasy, and nobody out there really cares. On today's show, we got Bills versus Texans. We got Sabres' last three games. Two of them were victories. One of them was absolutely pathetic. Bandits moves and some team outlook right now. I know it's Sunday. Final rosters are due, I believe, at midnight, if I remember correctly. So we don't have the final rosters yet, but we're going to fine-tune the 27 players left on the roster. And then Bandits Bold Predictions. It's everybody's favorite time of the year. So, remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. Don't forget to follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at buffalosportscollective.com. The articles are about to be flowing. The interviews are coming out like lightning quick right now, and look for the time breakdowns in the description of the show. Coming up this week, Monday, we have this episode that you're listening to right now. Tuesday, Steve Bermel. I'm interviewing him on Monday. That interview will be out on Tuesday. We're going over nothing but the Buffalo Bandits. So if you've been wondering where the heck are these interviews for the Buffalo Bandits, listen to that one. Nick Kloss comes on Wednesday to dissect Buffalo versus Georgia. Let us know the changes that are going on in Georgia. Thursday, PK's Power Rankings Week 1 will be out, and the NLL Pick'em, the People's Picks. You're facing me and Phil this year. That is going to go out on Monday. I know I said Sunday. I'm switching it to Mondays through Wednesday. Vote on Instagram and Twitter. That will be the way to handle it. We're going to put it on Instagram in the story. On Twitter, it will be pinned to our account. We got 4 games starting in week 1, so see if you can beat Phil and me this week, or this year, I should say. And then Friday, it is the preview, Bandits versus Swarm for week 1. Last week, I interviewed Pat Gregoire. That came out on Thursday, so give that a listen. And I interviewed Bud Bailey on Saturday about his new book, so listen to that. But finally, Bills versus Texans. I've been trying to delay this as long as possible. They lose 23-19. Allen 24-34, 253, and 2 interceptions, 5 for 20 with a long of 14. Cook 17 of 116 and 1. Shakir 8 for 110. Ty Johnson was the next leading receiver at 3 for 45. But Phil, where do you want to start? Good or bad?
Yeah, real quick. So I was looking at our recording screen, and I have the Christmas tree in the background. It's not on yet, but I saw a little blinking red light, and I was like, what am I missing? Like, is like power somehow getting to this thing without it being plugged in? And it's the recording signal that is just perfectly lined up with a tree bulb, and I was like, what am I? Oh, there we go. All right, the Bills. I have enjoyed, as far as a good, Ty Johnson's kind of resurgence in the last few games, and them just actually using him for what he was really good at. I think he did a really good job at the end of last year. Second half of the season, they started using him in this way, and this is what he does best, is these kind of swing passes, these little plays out of the backfield, and he's not going to ever get 10, 20 touches a game because that's what Cook's there for, but he's really good in these kind of situational roles, and I'm glad that they have gone back to him and started using him for those opportunities because he does a good job on it, and you should have some kind of complement on your run game, and he seems to be the main one who's able to do it. It's just not Cook only. Ty Johnson can actually do something, so it's nice to see them kind of mixing that back in. Outside of that, I mean, the Bills put up 44 points against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and then come in and put up 12 points only a few days later. It's just not great. I mean, this is kind of the offense that worries you when these kind of things happen, especially when things get clamped down that much more in playoffs. If they make playoffs, the defenses get much tougher. Everything gets much more difficult to score, and your offense I know this is kind of an outlier as far as the offensive line goes. It's one of the best offensive lines in football, or at least it seems to be in this game. I mean, Houston does have a
You mean
legitimate
defensive
defense.
line, right?
Do they have a bad offensive line?
Houston?
No, the Bills. The Bills
Oh,
offensive
I'm
line.
sorry. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
Talking about the Bills offense.
Yes.
The Bills offensive line is one of the better ones in the game. Not the best by any means, but they're up there. And this game to me was an outlier as far as them allowing so many sacks and such poor play. I know Houston's defense is very good. It is a legitimate defense, and if Houston had any sort of offense, they'd probably be a pretty decent threat in the NFL. But it was just enough for Houston's offense to do that the Bills' defense couldn't handle. But I don't know. This game I mean, between the last two games, I feel like you kind of throw both of them in the trash. You have an outlier, really high scoring game for the offense. Then you have an outlier, really low scoring game for the offense where nothing really went well. And those two average out to kind of nothing. But not a good game, obviously, especially for a team that is not desperate for wins. But we were once talking about them having a pretty nice path to the first overall seed, and that is just long gone.
Yeah, good. I thought the fourth down decisions by Sean McDermott's been up and down this year. I thought he killed it this year, or this game, I should say. The 4th and 1 on his own 28. I can't believe he went for it based on some of his decisions this year, but it was the right call, and it turned out in his favor. Josh Allen goes over the top. 4th and 2, big catch by Ty Johnson. Again, another good decision. Bills on Houston when they had the third down. Bills' third down defense was great in this one. 2 for 12. Great blocking on the Cook run. That ended up being their only, offensive touchdown. Davis's kick return game. I mean,
he's been good.
It proves Codrington doesn't need to be back on this roster because it proves McCall Hardman doesn't have to be back on this one when he gets healthy. Davis and Johnson back there are a good duo in the return game. I'm fine with that. Poyer, I thought he looked really good in this one. Last game, it was more, okay, he's accumulating the tackles because the running game is getting to the last line of defense. I thought he was really good on top of what he does for Cole Bishop. He's a nice piece back there. He has lost like 3 steps, no question about it, but he's still very solid back there. He's like a smarter DeMar Hamlin back there to me, where he still isn't the elite athlete you want back there. He's lost a step, but he's so smart he knows to be in the right position. And then the defense after Josh Allen's interception that forced a field goal right before half, I thought that was very perfect. Impressive. And then, the drive before that, they went all the way down there and scored a touchdown. Then they were able to force that field goal. Then Houston goes all the way down there and scores again before the end of the... So the spot right in the middle there, that was the juicy spot. But yeah, that's pretty much the only positives I really have for this one. You weren't on the last show, but I was talking so highly of that was the best game that we've seen from Buffalo's offense all year. Regardless of the Kansas City game, regardless of the Baltimore game, that was the one top to bottom. What receivers were getting open, it was perfect. This game, Brady was awful. Allen was awful. The wide receivers were awful. The offensive line was awful. Everything top down from the offense was just horrible in this game. And you see the drastic up and down roller coaster season this team has. It's insane that people still think this team is capable of making a run in the playoffs. It's not happening. Like,
I was thinking
you called it from the beginning. Yeah, you called it from the beginning. They're not winning the Super Bowl. I said it a few weeks ago that they're probably going to be a one and done in the playoffs. If you get last week's game, like versus Tampa Bay offense, sure, they can hang with everybody. But this defense is an issue, and they play calling an offensive influx of what they could be versus what they are, and what they are versus what it's a mess this season, man. I don't know what to look for, and there's so much more bad that we can dive into right now.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things which you have as a note as well is like you knew the amount of pressure that was happening. The first half didn't go well, even the third quarter. And I know there's only so many plays you have in the playbook. You can't just throw everything, like scrap the whole game plan and move to something else. It's just not the kind of adjustments that are made in a game. But something should have been made by Brady on the offensive side of the ball to give Allen some kind of help, some kind of play calling should have existed to make it a little bit better on him and a little bit better on the offense. But nothing really changed. And as you saw, the score didn't really change. I know they had that miracle of a last second drive, which they've done too many times already this year to barely squeak out wins, that they need that last second heroics. But up until that point, you just weren't able to do anything, and there weren't enough adjustments on the offense. Again, you can't make too many, but there's enough plays in the playbook to mix it up a little bit and give someone some kind of breathing room and support. And it just didn't seem like it happened. Like, I don't know if he was so gung-ho to stick to his game plan and thought it would eventually work out, or there's just not enough creativity that he has to go to something when things aren't going well. But either way, it looked very ugly with very minimal adjustments.
Yeah, like you said, the offensive coordinator gave zero help to that offensive line. He was like, okay, my 5 guys will still run it out there. You had Dawkins down at one point, Vandemark goes to the left side, and then you had struggling Spencer Brown, who was drastically hurt. You could see how much pain he was in. They left him in, and then they finally pulled him out and put Vandemark back on the right-hand side. It was just, why don't you use Alec Anderson? Just put him in there as your 6th offensive lineman. Like, what's the hurt in that? Why is he so against doing things that would help the offensive line and give Josh Allen more time in the pocket? And this is not absolving Josh Allen, because he was not good in the first half. Second half, he was seeing ghosts because he was getting pressured. 8 sacks. That's just pathetic. I mean, yes, I'm not fully putting this all on the offensive line, because it seemed like Dawkins was playing a little bit hurt. It seemed like Spencer Brown definitely was getting hurt, and he left the game. So you're playing with a backup right tackle. It's just, I don't know what to do with this offense anymore. They're not going to do anything with Joe Brady as the offensive coordinator. It's just not going to happen. This seems like it's Carolina days where, yeah, year 1 in Carolina, he was great. I mean, he saw Robbie Anderson went for over 1,000 yards. I mean, this offense was really good under Carolina. And then year 2, he got figured out. That seems like what's getting put here. It's very bland. He loves the stupid screen game to Shakir on 3rd and 4 all the time.
Yeah,
much. I do not like this offense whatsoever. They're not going to do it. I mean, the defensive line got 0 pressure on Davis Mills. See, I don't even freaking know. Their offensive line, they traded their best offensive lineman this offseason. Like, this isn't a good offensive line. You saw what C.J. Stroud did the last 2 years, and this offensive line got worse this year. They're struggling in the run game. I mean, Cook, it's just, their run game on defense is just horrible. Like, horrible. This is one of the worst running games for Houston that we've seen all year. They're trash. Then Bernard finally bounces back this season. He's played really good the last few games. He gets hurt. It was his elbow. It didn't look good. Then, I mean, Taron Johnson's still on the field. He looks like absolute trash right now. 3 turnovers in this game. This is not a team that you can even safely say is making the playoffs, because you look at the upcoming schedule. They still got Cincy. They still got Philly. There's no sure thing that they're still going to be making the playoffs, because Houston's 6-5. They now have the edge over you. Kansas City's 6-5. Yeah, you have the edge over them, and Baltimore. They're both 6-5. But you're looking at this team right now. I mean, Chargers are 7-4 now. Jags are 7-4. I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but this team is just, they're not Super Bowl caliber. It's just not there. And Brandon Beane needs to have his feet held to the fire for what he allowed this roster management to end up, because this has been slowly working there, and I don't think enough people paid attention, including us, that how the downfall of what this offense used to look like in 2020 and 2021, and that Josh Allen was able to hide a lot of these mistakes, and Stephon Diggs was able to hide a lot of these mistakes. What this offense has done now, where the lack of talent is just not there, it's ugly. And what's worse is that, yes, everybody likes to say the salary cap is fake and all that kind of stuff. You can manage a lot of stuff. What's happening now is they just paid a bunch of guys. Unless you're willing to like push the money down the line and screw yourself in the future, they're stuck for a while, because they paid. And this is what we said, and I said it on Pat Moran's podcast for the longest time. And I know I'm going on a rant, and then I'll shut up. If you pay good players, you can't afford to pay great players. They paid so many good players this offseason to bring them back, including Gregory Rousseau, who is non-existent in this game, to be good. You need to win Super Bowls with great players, and they do not have enough of them. They have maybe 2. That's it. They're not going to win the Super Bowl. I think they're still going to make the playoffs, but at the moment, they're one and done. It's not a good look right now.
Yeah, I mean, 2 things. 3, actually. Last year, looked it up because I thought it was a really low number. They allowed 14 sacks all of last season. You just allowed 8 in one game. So that's not good. And then turnovers last year, they had 8 all the entire season. And you just had, 3 or 4 in that game alone? So, I mean, just massive, massive difference. I know it's one game, but this has not just been a one-game issue.
Yeah.
The turnovers have been there for a while. This was one of the big things from last year, was the Bills were so good at the turnover battle. They were crushing it. One of the best. I think they were the best in the league with the turnover differential last year. And this year,
so, yeah. For the last couple of years, I believe.
Yeah, and this year it's just completely fallen off on all sides of it. I know a lot of it throughout the years with Allen has been pretty simple-ish interceptions that have been dropped that have kind of saved him here and there, but this is so far past just a regression back to the means. Like, you've gone way, way too far on the other side. But something that we talked about off the podcast was so much is put on Allen for the offense that he can make anybody really great because he's a generational talent, so you don't need a ton of talent. And because of that, I think it was Coleman is the highest drafted wide receiver in his time. But other than that, Gabe Davis in the 4th round is the next highest wide receiver. Yes, Kincaid, who's injured right now, he's an offensive weapon who's very high, and Cook. But for wide receivers alone, they really have not given Allen much help at all.
It's taken everything away.
Right. They just keep getting it away and hoping that he can patch it together and make whatever's out there work. But because of that, the whole idea was, okay, Allen can do that so we can make the defense really good. Like, we'll just keep pumping all of our draft picks into the defense. They're going to be amazing. Your defense is horrible, and you've given no support to your offense or your generational talent in Josh Allen, and now you are here in a team where, yes, our expectations are Super Bowl or bust, where they should be because of what they've done the last few seasons, and this is one of the worst seasons they've had in a long time. Not just record, they look horrible. They don't look like a good football team. They don't look like a dominant team. They don't look like a team, like we've said already multiple times on here, that's anywhere near close to winning a Super Bowl. And now you have the Patriots who have just flown right past you. So that's also fun.
Yeah, so that pretty much wraps up this one. I don't really want to talk about the Buffalo Bills anymore because there's what's frustrating is they're sitting 7-4, and they could still go on a run here, and it wouldn't completely shock me. But I don't see any realistic option that's going to happen.
How many wake up calls does this team need?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's so
you're just
up
waiting
and down
for them to turn that page. And when you thought Tampa could have been it, like that, okay, this was the game. They finally look good. The offense looks good. Everything's happy and go lucky, and then you just come right back and drop this game. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I know that Sean McDermott is going to come to the defense of his coordinators. I completely get that. But how you can look at this, and again, I understand what he said in the press conference. I get it. I wouldn't expect it anything else. But how he's not even contemplating bringing in the guy that can fix this offense in Brian Daboll, because we saw it. It's just silliness.
Again, it's the Ken Dorsey issue is what, why is this? Why are they getting protected now? Like, Dorsey was on the hot seat.
That might be the issue, is that they don't have anybody in the waiting like they did with Joe Brady.
But you have somebody sitting out there doing nothing. Who's
I just mean,
somebody.
I think they made the move with Ken Dorsey because they already had somebody in the organization. Yeah. They should have signed Brian Daboll 2 minutes after he got fired with Giants, because you knew what was happening. It's not good. I'm not even going over the rest of the league because I kind of already did that. Next week, Pittsburgh, Sunday, 4:25, so it's probably going to be a little bit later of a recording. But good news, and we normally don't cover this kind of stuff, but it's very important to me. When they faced Cincinnati, it went from a 4 o'clock game to a 1 o'clock game, baby. Yeah, there's 3 1 o'clock games in a row in December. Yes, I love it. But Pittsburgh next week, so it'll be a later recording for us on Sunday. But Bandits will be on a bye that week anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We'll move on to the Sabres here. Wednesday versus Calgary, 6-2, and I was ready to come on here and just absolutely blast this team. Ready to go on a rant for the first time in a while. And then Friday they win 9-3 over Chicago. And then Sunday I go to the game and they win 4-1. They've won 4 of their last 5. And the only loss came versus that Calgary one. You cannot absolve them for what they were doing. But Phil, they're 9-9-4, 22 points. They're 3 points back of a wild card spot, 4 points back of the division. We're not at Thanksgiving yet, so I'm not buying back in. But I will say the last 2 games were fun to watch again. That's all I've been asking for. That's what I asked for on the last show. I want this team to be fun. It was a fun game. You said, oh man, you might be able to get a 9-3 game, or you might get a 3-9 game. You never know what you're going to get. I got a victory watching them defeat Carolina, and I got 2 butter dishes. It's a good Sunday for me. Sabres win. They're still alive. It's more entertaining, and I got 2 butter dishes. They're sitting over there. They're heavy. They're heavy duty, and they gave us vouchers. This is a side tangent. They gave us vouchers that you had to turn in after the game to get them. And Brooke's like, I wonder why they gave you vouchers and didn't you give them? I was like, well, it's glass. We're in Buffalo. The chances of them throwing these things on the ice or just
100%.
dropping them around the arena, there's a reason they give you cans and not bottles. So, right. Yeah, it completely made sense. But they're heavy duty, man. That would have hurt if you would have gotten hit by one of those on the ice. Not condoning it.
Just saying. Yeah, my brother he's always been more of a Sabres fan than he has been a Bills fan. He's been messaging me recently like, all right, that 9-3 win, that was big. That's exciting. He's like 4-1 win over Carolina. That's a big win. That's a good team. That's a solid victory. Like, where are we? And I was like, I don't know. Like you said, it's fun to watch, and that's the biggest thing. We aren't at this point in the season, and we're just completely over it, depressed, and don't want to talk about them like we have been for the last few years. So we will take that as a huge victory. They're still exciting and kind of fun to talk about, which is big for us. And I mean, the fact that they're even on the show is big because we talked about kicking them off for a little bit, but
it's still opening.
Yeah, no, they got time. But
I won in fantasy. Sorry,
I did take a quick peek, but there was still 30 seconds left.
It's big.
But yeah, like for me personally, I think you've said the same thing. Like, you got to get me all the way to the All-Star game or into 2026 before I'm really bought back in, no matter what they do. Like, even if they go on a huge run, win 10 in a row, I'll be happy for them. But until this is very consistent, which right now they are not a consistent hockey team, until they are very consistent, showing true signs of solid growth, not just spark games and then getting crushed and then a spark game, where if they're consistently winning and looking good, again, when the new year flips over, if they're still in things, then I'll start to maybe possibly sort of buy back in. But more than anything, like you said, they're fun to watch. The weird thing for me, which is the same thing that they've had an issue with for a while, and it's very hard, very similar to the NLL, it's hard to win in the league without a goalie. And this, I know UPL had 2 good games, whatever, that's not that. But the rotation of goalies, again, is just so annoying. And I know they don't have a true goalie right now, which is why there's that huge rotation. But we're right back to, you can't get a goalie hot when they're playing 1 game at a time or 2 games at a time. Then you get them out of there. 1 game, get them out of there. Like, they need a goalie. I mean, somebody just needs to step up, take over. I mean, that's the problem right now, is they don't have anybody stepping up and just saying, this is my crease, I'm going to go play 10 games in a row no matter what happens. They don't really have that goalie right now on the team. We thought Lyon looked good early. Now he hasn't been playing. UPL's had 2 good games in a row. Who knows where he's going? Ellis has flashed, but then he looked horrible. So I don't know. Like, they need goaltending to me really badly, but somebody needs to step up in that crease and just kind of own it. But this rotation of every other game nonsense again is going to be tough to watch.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to follow them. They got 1 game until we talk again, because remember, we're Monday and Friday once again, minus the Friday Bandits
good for us
because Thursdays.
It packs the episodes.
Yeah, packs them. It's better than going like an hour and a half. Like, you weren't on the show last week, and I texted you right after. I went, Phil, I still talk for like an hour and 10 minutes. It's insane. And then 100%. I had an interview the next day and an interview the day after, and my throat was hurting. I gave flowers on that episode, but I'll give it flowers again. Those out there that have a 1-person podcast, and Brooke yelled at me because I said 1 man or woman podcast, 1-person podcast that just talks the entire time, hats off to you, because I don't know how you do it. Not only because when I was taking breaks, I had a drink and then there's just dead air, but it's just, I get lost in myself. And like I've said to multiple people, I like having Phil here, not just because he's half the podcast, but when I'm talking and I screw something up, Phil catches it. Or when like we have a disagreement, it's back and forth. It's just not me talking to a screen the whole time. So whoever does just podcasts on themselves, like by themselves, hats off to you. I can't do it. I don't mind doing it, but it's a lot. And talking for an hour. I don't know how. I looked at it. I was like, okay, I'm in a good position. Then I looked at it again. I'm over 60 minutes. I'm like, of course, that's what just happens. I wonder how long this would have been if Phil was here. It would have been a 2-hour episode. But that ends the Sabres section of this. We talked about them far too much, but progress, guys. 4 out of 5, 8 points in 10 games, or 8 out of 10. It's progress. They're looking good again, minus one game. I'll take it. If they have one stinker every 5 games,
That's
I'm positive.
great.
It's good. Great. I really like, even if you don't win the other ones, just one stinker every 5 games, I'll take it. 4 of the other games are fun. Love it. But we'll move on to Tap That Tap Room, our sponsor for this episode. They're still at 363 Delaware Street in Tonawanda, New York, and they will be there for a very long time. Buffalo's first women-owned self-pour bar featuring 30 consistently rotating taps. They offer a variety of beers, ciders, sours, seltzers, and malt beverages. Phil, we had Friendsgiving the other day. The best place besides where we hosted Friendsgiving is Tap That Tap Room.
It is, and speaking of gathering friends and maybe having a holiday brew or something winter feeling, they have a very festive holiday wreath workshop coming up on Tuesday, December 2nd from 6:30 to 8:30. During the workshop, you're going to get to use a grapevine wreath and fresh live greenery to craft your very own holiday wreath filled with pine cones, berries, bows, and my favorite part, the twinkle lights. I really like when things light up, and these light up, which is fantastic. All participants must purchase a ticket, and your ticket includes all materials and instructions. It's obviously going to be at Tap That Tap Room. Get your ticket, go have fun, enjoy the festivities. Thanksgiving is around the corner, but just after that, you're going to need a fresh wreath to decorate that door, and Tap That Tap Room has you covered. Get some friends and go make yourself a wreath.
Yeah, to find out what else they got coming up, check their Facebook page. Find out what's on tap and what's on deck. Check out tapthattaproom.com. Check out our reel that we put out on Sunday as well to break down the upcoming Bandits watch parties as well. We kind of went over everything in the reel. If you're confused, though, Facebook page, they have the events out there for the Buffalo Bandits. Answers all the questions you want, or just DM us and we'll answer them for you. If we don't have the answer, we'll get it for you and then send it
also true
on your way. We'll move on. Second half of the show is all dedicated to the Buffalo Bandits on this episode. We've put them dormant for a bit because we've been pumping out all their NLL coverage, but as the season goes closer, if you're joining us for the first time, this is year 5 of us covering this team. This is the 5th year we're doing our bold predictions, but how we kind of break it down is Monday is the reaction show for the game before, and the Friday show / Thursday show is the preview. So moving forward, it's like 85 to 95% Buffalo Bandits. The other 15 to 5% is the rest of the NLL. But when you face everybody in the NLL, and there's only 14 teams in the NLL, and the NLL is one of the best leagues out there, we cover them because we need stuff to talk about as well. You can't just talk about one team the whole offseason. It's not going to work. But it's Buffalo Bandits time. 3 bold predictions for the Buffalo Bandits. We did our standings predictions and our NLL bold predictions on the last show. It's on all our social media sites, or you can go listen to the last episode. But Phil, we got 3 each. Do you want to start with yours first, or do you want me to run number 1 for me down first?
I'll go with my first one. It's pretty quick. My other 2 have some write-ups. This first one, easy peasy. Nanacoke will hit a career high in points. Basically, in my opinion, he kind of has to. Fraser has vacated some points over there, vacated a huge spot on the right side. I think that hole is going to need to be filled, and I think Nanacoke is the guy to do it. He needs to break 51 from his rookie season. Throughout his whole career, he's been averaging 24.5 goals and 17 assists. So that right there, pretty close to already the 51 that he needs. Last year, though, which is why this is a bold prediction, he did have a career low in goals, assists, and points. So not great, but the big reason for that, he was the lane setter last year on the right side. He wasn't really there necessarily to score, and now it's his time to go back to that rookie season where he put up 51 points. Like, he needs to take over that right side, take over that Fraser role. He needs to be more of a point guy, more of an assist guy, more of a goal guy. He needs to be that guy. You and I have been asking the last few years, like, when is he going to go back to that style of play? And the team hasn't needed him to be that player. So he hasn't really gone and made himself a presence on that right side because everybody kind of fit into their roles on the Bandits. Like, if you had a role that was working for the team. The offense is humming. There's no reason to change it. So he had a very specific role, and it really wasn't to score. He did score. He's not someone who has scored none or anything, but he was a big lane setter, a big off-ball movement guy last year. That was his role, and they won the championship. So I'm not going to argue it. But this year, no Fraser. He needs to step up in a big way, in my opinion. And I think, I want to say he has it in him because we saw it rookie season, but I don't know where he's going to fit in, if he does have to step his game up, if what level he can actually reach, because we just haven't seen it and he hasn't been asked to do that. So I don't know how high his ceiling actually is. Can he go up to 60, 70 points if he was asked to and all of a sudden became that guy? I don't know. But I think this year the right side is going to need him to step up and kind of fill the gap that Fraser leaves.
Yeah, I'm a little upset you got to this one first. This one seemed like the most obvious bold prediction you could have that's still bold, and I'm a little upset you got it. But yeah, I fully agree. He does need to step up. And again, this isn't more, how did I phrase it with Pat Gregoire? Or no, I think this is a question upcoming for Steve Bermel.
So many interviews.
Yeah, it's there's 4 before the season even starts. And then I get a week off because Bandits got to buy after that. But
Nice.
It's more, like you said, he hasn't been asked to do it. Can he step up into that number 4 role or number 3 if you depend on if he's going to bump past? Right. I think he can do it. We've seen flashes of him being able to do it. I think that 2-man game between him and Dane Smith has to come back. He was really thriving with Chase Frazier. Now that Frazier's gone, I think Dane and Buchanan were the ones that were doing it. Then it was Chase and Nanakoke. But you've also seen glimpses of Dane and Nanakoke do it. I want to see that time once again because there's nobody more dangerous and there's nobody in the league that's tougher to get the ball out of his stick than Nanakoke is. And he takes an absolute beating for it. It will be interesting to see if that role continues and he just gets more points through it or more opportunities through it, or if his entire role changes. That's going to be the more important thing because they don't really have another guy on the right-hand side unless Triolo can kind of do it with his bigger body, that can take that abuse and get to the front of the net. I mean, on the penalty kill, when they have the ball, it's pretty much just put it in Nanakoke's stick and let him burn out the rest of the 25 seconds. That's pretty much what it is. I think that'll continue, but I'm wondering if his role on offense will continue because if his offensive responsibilities adjust, I think more points will come with it. If he's stuck in that role and you're asking a Lucas Nielsen to step up or you're going more heavy left side, it will be interesting to see because he might get stuck in that role again, a more niche role, and he might not. So it is a bold prediction, but I do like it. Mine is probably it's got to end at some point, right, man? But my bold prediction is it's going to continue for the 5th straight season. Dane Smith will break his single season assist record for the 5th straight season is my bold prediction. I believe I took a break last year because I was like, there's no way he's going to get over 100 again, and he did. 2022 is when it started with 94. 2023, 96. Then he jumped 5 more in 2024 with 101. And then even though they took an assist away last year, I think, or that was the year before, I can't remember.
No, I think it was last year because they finished, because him and Byrne, he would have beat Byrne in the points.
That's right.
But they took it away, so they both tied.
Yeah, so last year 102. That means at least he needs 103. And the reasoning I think he can still do this, and even though you say, okay, you took Chase Frazier and Chris Cloutier away, you added a pure one of the best goal scorers ever to play this game. And even in his older age, Ryan Benesh is there. You got Ian McKay in a second full year on the offensive side of the ball, and Josh Byrne. And I'm going to go over another bold prediction in just a second here, but his cross passes across the field, and I think his ability, and the power play can only go up from here. I do think that he has the ability, and I think there's going to be chances for him to get up and over 102 assists just because of the addition of Ryan Benesh, Lucas Nielsen coming in, and Ian McKay the second full season in this, or in the role on the left-hand side full-time forward. So it's got to end at some point. It has to. Even if he gets over or under 100 or over 100 again, he's still going to get to 103. So I think it's going to happen again, but it does have to end at some point, right?
I mean, 105 is a pretty nice round number.
Yeah, but if you just keep going up by one, you're giving yourself a chance
that
to
is
break
fair.
it every year. If
That
you
is
jump
fair.
too high, man.
Right.
Oh.
No, I get it. I will. I don't want to talk about my rebuttal or thoughts on that until we get a little bit more into the whole team
Yeah,
because
that's fair.
I don't want to.
I know why, yeah.
I just don't want to dive too far into it. But you did mention I do like it, by the way. I do like it. I do think he can do it, and also it's ridiculous that we are mentioning it again because he's too good at lacrosse.
I just want to point out it's probably because of us.
I assume so. Yeah.
Fifth year covering this team.
Yeah.
Just send us the check, man.
He gets the motivation from listening to our show every week.
100%.
But speaking of power play, I am going to choose that Buffalo will lead the league in power play percentage this year. And last year, they were 12th in the league out of 14 at only 41%, going 29 of 70 on their opportunities. Honestly, we kept asking every single game, can this get better? Their offense is too good. What is going on? And it never really got better, but they won the championship, so who cares? Calgary led the league with 51 goals and a 53 power play percentage. Halifax only had 36 goals, but they were third in the league with 50%. So opportunities do matter. I mean, 36 goals from Halifax, 51 from Calgary. Huge difference there, but the percentage is what we're going for, and they were only 3% off from each other because of the opportunities. But the big thing, which PK just mentioned, they brought in Ryan Benesh, who finished 13th in the league last year in power play goals with 9. That would have tied McKay for the team lead. So you're adding 9 power play goals to somebody who already would have led the team. I think McKay also had 9. So adding an additional person of Benesh's caliber to the power play, something that he's very, very good at, I think will be a huge help for this team. But also, what we just mentioned a little bit ago, they're just too talented. I think last year, to me, was more of an outlier of them just not being very good on the power play. I don't know why they couldn't figure it out, but they still scored enough goals to make it work. But I think Benesh is going to be a huge addition to that power play. Like you already said, another season, McKay, he was good on the power play as well. And I just think that they'll be able to figure it out. They had a whole offseason to kind of go back, dissect. Johnny Tavares is way too good of an offensive mind and coach to not have a better season, but I think Benesh can push them over the top all the way back to number 1.
Yeah, I remember going back to the last season just going, it has to get better. Like, they're too good. Like, you look at the team, you got, when Dane is running it, you got Buchanan and Frazier to his left, and you got Byrne and McKay on his right, and they were one of the worst power play units in the world. It makes no sense. They were god-awful when it was 5-on-3. I remember talking about that, just going, why is Priolo at the midfield line? Put another one up there because this is clearly not working.
They did, and they scored.
Yeah, if they did, and they scored. It's like, wow, and then they did it again, and it's like, oh, they didn't score again. Okay, I do agree. It's got to be better, and I fully agree. Allowing Nanakoke to also be a part of it, and allowing Ryan Benesh to be a part of it, not allowing, but bringing in Benesh to be a part of it, I think is going to make this power play do wonders. And they led the league in scoring without having a power play. This could be dangerous. My second one here, and this is why I hinted at the left side of their offense. This one is the bold prediction I've ever done because it's never happened in the history of the NLL. Bandits will have 3 40-goal scorers. No team in the history of the NLL that I was able to find, if I am wrong, I apologize, but I went back as far as I could find and I couldn't find it. No team has ever had 3 40-goal scorers on their team. And yes, I understand years and years ago, there were 6 games and 8 games and 10 games and 12 and 16 and so forth. So it was harder to do. The closest I could find was back in 2005. The Rock had 2 guys go up and over 40 and 1 guy at 39. On top of this bold prediction, this is not going to be in the graphics, so don't hold my feet to the fire if it's somebody else. I'm putting it here so you can go back and listen, though. The 3 guys that will go up and over 40 will be Josh Byrne, Ryan Benesh, and Ian McKay, all on the left-hand side, and I think a lot of that has to do with Dane Smith feeding them to the opposite side. So I got 3 guys up and over 40 goals. If Benesh does that, it's going to be insane at his age. McKay has never done it, and I think Josh does it with his eyes closed. But this is my boldest prediction I've ever had. It's where it's going to stick, and let's fingers crossed it works. Because if they do that, they're going to lead the league in scoring again. 3 guys, 120 goals just between them. I predicted last week that Philly wouldn't even average 10 goals a game, and that's 180. I mean, Bandits would need 60 more to do that. That's my bold prediction, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, no, that's extremely bold. Last year they had one 40-goal scorer, and it was Josh Byrne. Let's go back one more year. Yeah, they haven't had, okay. In 24, they only had one go over 40. In 23, they had one go over 40.
Oh, I know.
In 22, one over 40. So, although in 22, it was not Josh, it was Dane. Extremely.
I was close. I will say I was very close. I'm putting Dane in there. And then I remembered my last bold prediction from the last show when I had Jesse King doing it. I went, if I have Dane Smith breaking his assist record and going up and over 40, he's also breaking the points record, which would mean he's probably the MVP. So I couldn't do that. So that's why Dane's not open over 40, because I can't diminish his assist record bold prediction and the Jesse King one from last week. So I'm all over the place I'm like that guy with the bolt or the Hangover, where Zach Galifianakis is just seeing all these added things. That's what I'm doing with these bold predictions, trying to make them all work.
Yeah, or you're Charlie from It's Always Sunny in the mailroom.
Pepe Sylvia.
Yeah, if Dane had 103 and 40 for 140.
That's what I mean. I can't do it.
It'd be ridiculous. No, I like it, and I hope it comes true. It'd be very interesting. It's bold. It's bold. My last one, it bit me last year, but we're dipping back into the well. I don't know why, but I believe in this player, and we'll see if he can do it. Cam Wires will have 15 points and lead the team in cause turnovers. I called for him leading the team in cause turnovers last year, and he really let me down. But I got some stats. We'll go through them. His points from his rookie season to sophomore went from 5 to 9. So I don't think it's crazy for him to add 6 more. He's not a big point guy, but 15 points isn't crazy. I think he can just add a little bit more transition to his game. Even that's tough to get to for him, but I don't think it's insane. But his turnovers went from 20 to 14. So rookie season, he had 20. I thought he was just going to keep going up, figure out the game. He dropped all the way to 14. Not great. And then Nick Weiss skyrocketed and had the best season of his career, so that didn't help either. But in the 6 playoff games, Cam Wires did lead the team with 12, averaging 2 per game. That is, he almost had his entire season in just these 6 playoff games. So maybe he found something in his game that kind of got him back on track to what he did his rookie season. And if he can kind of keep that momentum going, I think he could lead the team. If he did the 2 per game, that I think would be really close to, if not would have led the entire league last year. So I don't know if that's likely, but I think if he just found whatever he did in playoffs, whatever was working for him in playoffs, if he can do that throughout the season, he'll have a much better season than he did last year, closer to his rookie year. But I do think he can lead the team and cause turnovers and just add a few points for good measure.
He would have led the league in cause turnovers.
So, yeah. So I don't see that. I don't see that happening. But if he
Matt Hosick and Mitch DeSnew had 34 each, so he would have had 36.
Would have crushed it. Yeah. So I don't see 36 in his future, but 30 would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, if you get up over 30, I think he leads the team.
Yeah.
Last year, my last bold prediction was to help get John Gertler the Tom Borelli, and we did it. We were solely responsible for it. His talent had nothing to do with it. It was all us.
Well, he's had talent for years.
Yeah.
But we pushed him over the edge.
We pushed him over the edge. But yes, I'm very happy that John Gertler is going to be going back into that box, writing all his articles as the defending Tom Borelli Award winner. And then I was thinking, because I always like to do one individual, one team, and one award. And I did that last week for the NLL. I do this for the Buffalo Bandits. And I got myself thinking, like, who needs one? Who deserves one? Who can I push that little extra nudge to get them across the line and get them the award they did drastically deserved? And it got me thinking, okay, this guy was nominated last year, but he didn't win it, even though he probably should have. So to get him across the line, the BSC is going to make this their own bold prediction. I'll put my stamp of approval on it. Scott Loeffler will win Executive of the Year. This is the most successful organization in lacrosse. Not the most winningest, whatever. They're tied for the championship, whatever. But when you're looking on paper and what teams strive to be is the Buffalo Bandits. And this is not me being biased. You can put that in your rearview mirror. That's not what I am about. If you listen to the show at all, I rarely ever pick Buffalo to win a championship. When I do, it does happen. But I've been called the Toronto homeboy. I've been called multiple different things on this show. Buffalo Bandits bias has never been one of those, so get that out of your vocabulary. I think this is the most successful organization. It's the best run organization in the NLL. Teams, when they look at what they want to become, they try to take the playbooks from the Buffalo Bandits. It's simple. They lead the league in attendance. They lead the league in wins. Players want to come play here for a reason. Yes, Matt Vince, Dane Smith, and Josh Byrne have something to do with it, but they're able to convince players to move here after they get drafted so they can play here and work in the organization. Like, who is the top honcho of this? It's Scott Loeffler, and he does not get the credit he deserves. Now, he's been in this role since 2009, and I remember one of the interviews he said before this whole run of 3 straight championships was, he kept thinking, oh man, am I the jinx in this, because they have not won a championship since I became a part of the organization. He came in 1 year after the 2008 one. The last Bandit to win this award was back in 2007. Like, that was the last time. Since then, since the last Buffalo Bandit to win this executive, remember, this is the most successful organization in all of NLL. The Rock have won it 3 times. Minnesota, who is not a team anymore, has won it 3 times. Halifax, who just came into the league a few years ago, has won it twice. Then you got Rochester there. You got Vancouver there. Las Vegas, I get that because they were a new franchise. Colorado. You got Calgary. You got Saskatchewan. But you also have Edmonton, who's not a team anymore. And you have New England, who's not a team anymore. What do we have to do to get Scott Loeffler across the line here? So as much as we pushed the Tom Borelli for John Gertler last year, we're doing Executive of the Year for Scott Loeffler this year. We're pushing it across the line. That is my last bold prediction, and it's a guarantee that it's going to happen because I'm 1 for 1. And it's going to happen, so I'm going to be 2 for 2, and then I'm going to have to figure out what I'm doing next year for one of these award winners. It might have to be a more league-wide one to get somebody that needs it, but that is my last bold prediction. Get Scott Loeffler the Executive of the Year because he was close last year. All he needs is that little nudge from us to get him over the line.
Yeah, I think he's one of those situations, same with John Tavares, where they are a victim of their success, which is so frustrating. That like, oh, I'm too good at my job, so I'm punished and don't get the award. I know they're not in it for the awards, but it's just
do anything all year, like have the tank everything, and then just bring it back out of nowhere next year, and then you get the award.
Right.
Don't
and
actually do that.
And I know from our standpoint, like we often look at attendance records and how successful they are and just how big of a franchise they are and how well it's run. But a lot of it also, like you mentioned, has to do with the players coming in.
Yeah.
And so many people in interviews have said, like, the amount that he goes through to make sure the players are well taken care of. Either it's well fed or they got the gyms they need to go to. They got the place to locally play lacrosse that they need.
He treats them like professional athletes that they are. Yeah.
And not everywhere does that. And you can tell that when people come here, they see a difference and they feel a difference, that when he needs to take care of a player, he does it. And he's one of the best in the league at doing that. But again, because you're successful, it seems like you get punished for being too good at your job. But I like it. I love it. And I think, I mean, if anyone's the man to get it pushed across, I think it's you. So, Scott, your award's already going to be in the mail. Just give us some time to get there.
They're already engraving it. We had nothing to engrave it with. We had to send it somewhere. But that will conclude the Buffalo Bandits bold predictions. Last year, I think we combined were 3 for 6. I think
not bad for bold.
Yeah, I think it was pretty good last year. I think we were pretty close in some. Like I had E. McKay setting career highs. I had the Tom Borelli for John Gertler, and I believe you had
I had Dawson getting the record.
Yeah, Dawson getting the record
50
that will never be
blocks,
broken.
I think. Yeah,
52, I think it is. That I'm going to talk about it with Steve Bermel, sorry, on the episode that's coming out, or the interview that's coming out on Tuesday. But I'll ask you really quick because we're already 50 minutes in. We got one more thing. Is his shot blocking record the most untouchable record that is in the NLL to date right now? I don't think it's going to get touched with the new shot blocking.
That's what I was going to say with the new rule. Yeah, I don't think it's
going to get touched.
I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, you need to have a psycho that's willing to do it but willing to
Right.
do it outside of the crease now. It's just unless they expand the season schedule, it's not going to get touched.
No.
Like,
and especially because, again, they've talked about it so many times that he used to be a goalie. Like, he knows angles. He knows what he's doing. It's not just my body's in the way. Like, he very well positions himself to block that shot. And even last year, the second place was 37 maybe by Lord or somewhere around there?
It was 37 with Ian Lord. After that, 27.
Right. And even Ian Lord's would have broke the previous record,
shattered it,
but his was so
53
much farther
by
ahead.
Paul Dawson also. 53. I was off by 1.
And so, I mean, with that being that much farther ahead and now the new crease rule, no, I don't think it gets touched.
Okay.
I know we always say that about every single record until it's broken, but that one seems ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane. That's over 3 blocks a game?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's
Stupid. He had one where I think he had like 5 or 6 blocks in a whole game. It's just insane what that man would do. Okay, real quick, because the roster is not finalized, but we have the 27 bodies right now under contract with this team. With the lefty, again, we're not going to go into big details. We're not going to break down every position right now. I have a question at the end of this, but this is where the roster stands right now. You got Josh Byrne, Ian McKay, Ryan Benesh, Clay Scanlon, and Coltrane Tyson, the lefty forwards. I know Tyson's been playing a little transition, but he's listed as a forward right now. Dane Smith, Nanakoke, Buchanan, Triolo, and Nielsen are the 5 righties. So they got 5 lefties, 5 righties under contract right now. Right now, at this moment, at 8:15 on Sunday night. Righty defenseman / transition. They got Steve Priolo, Dylan Robinson, Nick Weiss, Paul Dawson, Kyle Matisse, Taylor Dooley, Connor Farrell, Matt Spanger, and Carter Coffey. That is the 9 righty defensemen / transition players. With the 4 lefty defense / transition players, Zach Belter, Ron John, Thomas Whitty, and Cam Wires. In goalie, they got 4. Got Matt Vince, Steve Priolo, Evan Konstantinopoulos, and Waukegan Shaganash.
Steve Orleman.
Yeah, that's what I said, didn't I?
You said Priolo.
Oh, sorry. Steve Priolo. Yeah, thank you. I knew I got to name 25 before I butchered
You
one?
did great. You did
Okay.
great.
My question to you, because we're not going to dissect this whole team because we don't know what the team looks like at this moment. They have to cut 2 more players or move them to a list or something like that, and then it's going to be 21-4. But when you're looking at this right now, to you, Phil, at this moment, where is their weakest spot?
In general?
Yeah.
Yikes.
I have mine. I know pretty clearly what mine is.
I mean, I know what we would like it to be because I don't think they have the player on here to do it necessarily. For me, it's transition. But you're talking straight up position.
Yeah.
I mean, numbers alone, it's left D.
Yep. That is my biggest glaring issue. And I know the biggest name out there with what the situation is going on in Philly is Mitch Sisneau. But from all accounts, everything I've heard, all the people I've talked to, he's going back to Toronto, regardless if it's a trade from Philly to Toronto or he's a free agent, he's going to Toronto. Unless something happens, and I made the joke, unless Priolo and Vince and all them go over and kidnap him and force him to sign with the signature pen
and they make a call
on the contract, he's going to Chicago. Or Toronto. Sorry. Yeah, I butchered that one. He's going to Toronto. And I looked at what players are out there in free agency. There's not any. Like, left defensive position between defense and transition, it's their weakest area right now with Justin Martin going. It's by far. And yes, he officially announced his retirement. We've known that for a while, but that is one thing that I will stand on everything that I do here. I will never break the news that a player is retiring because I do not feel that's my place whatsoever to do. I feel like the player has played that long. He deserves however he wants to say goodbye to the sport. It's no one else's business to break that news. If you have it, I'm asking you, I'm begging you, please just sit on it. It's not worth it. Let the player retire and go out how he wants. Don't ruin it for him. But him leaving opened up a massive gap back there. It's Belter.
Not only just on the lefty, but just the defense.
Yeah, and what's more concerning is Belter's been hurt in the past. I'm not calling him injury prone whatsoever, but he has an injury history. Cam Wire has an injury history. Ron John was a healthy scratch all through playoffs, and Thomas Whitty, yes, he had one good season, but we saw what he was before this season. It's a little concerning on that side, especially with only 4 bodies. Like that's the most nerve-wracking thing is if one of those players goes down,
Right.
you're down to 3, and you can't rotate with 3 in a game. It's very concerning because there's not much out there. Maybe they make a trade in the final hours here or leading up to the first game, but at this moment, having only 4 back there with the lefty side, it's very concerning to me. This is kind of what it was last year with the lefty forwards. We're like, okay, but Ian McKay, like, sure, but how is it going to work? This to me is like an Ian McKay, so maybe I'm forcing a little good juju on the back end to see what happens there, because it worked out for Ian McKay when I doubted it.
Yeah, I don't like with what McKay did last year. I don't think you can have him go back. I mean, yes,
Right.
if there's an injury and it's short term, sure, but
Forces, yes.
right. I don't think Ian McKay can be a long term solution at lefty. Yes, he could be because he's very, very good, but with what he was able to do on offense last year, you can't take that away from the offense at this
Right.
point, especially with Cloutier gone. And Obenesh will cover that hole, but McKay is a huge part of the offense now. He needs to be up there. So if it's a short-term injury, fine. But I don't think you simply drop McKay back because you're a little weaker on that lefty. So,
And I do think that's a big reason why Coltrane's playing out the back end, because they only have 4. But then you're relying on a rookie, a second-round
Right.
rookie who's never played a second of NLL action. It's going to be very interesting. What
and I
that
mean, maybe
position
they
looks
do
like.
something with the
Right.
right D fluctuation they have. I mean, we still haven't heard. I mean, he might be out of the league. We don't know, but is it Anton Giovanni? Is that who I'm thinking of?
He's still on the draft list, yeah.
Yeah. So,
There's
but I
been
mean, I don't know if
0
that's someone
winners.
you can trade, though. Is kind of what I'm saying. Like,
Right, you
maybe
can trade
as a
his rights,
first round
yes.
pick if you
Yeah.
can trade him for something else. Maybe trade him out west where he is.
Right.
But I mean, there's some kind of trade bait that they have out there on the team, whether it's on the roster somewhere. But I agree with you. I think they need to bring in some depth on that lefty. And losing Martin, I know Zach
massive.
Gregoire has mentioned it so many times. It is huge. It's very, very big. He's a guy who does not get any stats, but he was the number 1 lockdown defender whenever they had somebody on the other team who was their best forward. He said, hey, go lock him down, and he did. Losing him is huge. And I know we're going to go over the whole team when it's a little more official, so I won't get too into it, but we'll save that for next episode.
Yeah, just to touch on Martin again, I think I said it in the interview. I know I said it to Brooke multiple times now. Losing him is the biggest loss that this team has had in this long run. Like, by far. Like, there's
Yes.
no one else that comes close. Yes, Chris Cloutier and Chase Frazier are massive losses, but you're losing your best defender on the back end. Like, lockdown defender, he is, to me, the biggest reason they won that game 3, because who shut down Austin Shanks after
Right.
those first 2 goals? He went quiet. You didn't notice him the rest of the game. Why? Justin Martin was right there. It's the biggest loss this team has had. And you can look at the box scores, whatever. He doesn't have a ton of them. But it's a massive loss. Again, that, to me, is their biggest spot I'm going to be keeping an eye on. I'm not downplaying what Belter, Wires, Whitty, and John can do back there whatsoever. I fully believe that they are able to lock it down on that side. It's
Martin
just
was just a different
that on
guy.
top of there's only 4 of them. What
Right.
happens if one of them does go down? Because NLL and lacrosse is a physical sport. I don't think they can go into the season with
or in
just 4
general,
guys.
like you said, like the rotation just throughout a game. Are they
Yeah.
just going to get exhausted by the end of the game because you're not rotating as many of
That's
those
another
guys?
reason why I think Tyson's actually going to make the 21, because he has to.
Yeah.
You can't go into the season
then
with 4
you're-
guys back there.
Not that, again, not only relying on a rookie, but then out of your lefty D, if we'll say he's a left defenseman, but more transition, but that's the problem. Then you have 3 transition on your left
Right.
D and 2 defenders. Like,
Yeah.
also not great.
Yeah, it's a sticky situation, but we'll see. Maybe there's a move by the time
keep an
people
eye
listen
on
to
it.
this. It's an eye.
Dietrich's
We kept
on
an
it.
eye on left forward last year, and we saw what happened with Ian McKay. We're keeping an eye on here, and we're going to find the next Ian McKay on the defensive side of the ball. But that wraps up this episode. We will be back Friday to preview Bandits versus Georgia Swarm for the banner raising night. But before then, remember, Thursday, power rankings by me and the NLL Pick'em. Make sure you go on to Twitter or Instagram, vote for who you think is going to win. The top vote getter is the People's Pick that week versus Phil and myself. Wednesday, Nick Kloss is on to talk about Buffalo versus Georgia, give us a little bit more insight on all the changes happening in Georgia. And then Tuesday, don't forget, Steve Bermel is going to be on the show talking all things Buffalo Bandits. But until then, Thank you all for listening to another episode of the Buffalo Sports Collective. Thank you to Tap That Tantrum for sponsoring this episode and this podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. Visit our website at buffalosportscollective.com. Don't forget, articles are going to be flowing like there's no tomorrow there. Follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure you leave us a review on Apple and Spotify. It's NLO week. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go. Till next time.